KC, permanent neglect, SSL 384-B7. A parent may lose parental rights if they fail for blank to maintain contact with or plan for the child's future, even though the blank made diligent efforts to help the parent reunite with the child. I believe it's 1 year, and I'm not sure the second, the agency. Okay. So a parent may lose parental rights if they fail for more than 1 year to maintain contact with or plan for the child's future, even though the agency made diligent efforts to help the parent reunite with the child. That's SSL 384-B7. KC, diligent efforts. This is SSL 384-B7F. Before terminating rights for permanent neglect, the agency blank make diligent efforts to strengthen the parent-child relationship, such as blank, 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 or blank, 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 unless an exception applies. So I believe that's going to be a must, that the agency must make diligent efforts. Is it? Yeah, it's must. Okay. To strengthen the parent-child relationship and the efforts that they would make, such as counseling, visitation arrangements, assistance with services, unless an exception applies. Again, before temporary rights for permanent neglect, the agency must make diligent efforts to strengthen the parent-child relationship, such as counseling, visitation arrangements, or assistance with services, unless exception applies. This is SSL 384-8A. KC, exceptions to diligent efforts. In cases involving blank or blank, 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 or blank, 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 the agency is not required to make diligent efforts before seeking termination. I think it's like neglect and abuse. So it's severe repeated abuse, abandonment, certain criminal conduct. So in cases involving severe or repeated abuse or abandonment or certain criminal conduct, the agency is not required to make diligent efforts before seeking termination. So there's the exception to the rule. Otherwise, they must make diligent efforts. Okay. That's SSL 384-B8A. KC, abandonment. SSL 384-B5. Parental rights blank be terminated if the parent fails to blank or blank with a child for blank blank, showing intent to abandon. I feel like it's like plan. They have to plan and show up for the child's parents' rights. Would it be may or must? I'm going to say must. May. Parents' rights may be terminated if the parent fails to visit or communicate with the child for 6 months, showing intent to abandon. Again, parents' rights may be terminated if the parent fails to visit or communicate with a child for 6 months, showing intent to abandon. Okay. This is SSL 384-B6. KC, mental illness or intellectual disability. Parents' rights blank be terminated if the parent is blank and for the foreseeable future unable to care for the child due to, I believe it's mental health issues, or blank, or if they're incapacitated, supported by blank blank. So it's may. Parents' rights may. So the must had to do with the agency being diligent. Hold on a second. I want to go back. Where was the agency being diligent? Oh. This is not it. Yeah, okay. So keep in mind, before terminating rights for permanent neglect, the agency must make diligent efforts to strengthen the parent-child relationship. The exceptions to that is if there's repeating abuse, severe repeated abuse, abandonment, or certain criminal activity. That's the exception to that. All right, and then that was a must, the initial one, right? Without the exceptions, obviously. But it seems like as far as abandonment, the things that happen to the parents, that's happening to the agent. The agency is a must, that they have to be diligent to strengthen the relationship. But for the parents, it's may. So far, it's may. Parents' rights may be terminated, right? If they fail to visit and communicate with the child for 6 months, showing intent to abandon, right? That's the one. This is a may. And then for mental illness or intellectual disability. So parents' rights may be terminated if the parent is presently and for the foreseeable future unable to care for the child, and that would be due to mental illness or intellectual disability, supported by expert testimony. So in these cases with the parents, it's a may, but if it's dealing with the agency, generally it's a must, that they must try to keep that relationship together. That's a must. But these cases with the parents is a may, like whether or not their termination, the parental rights will be terminated. For these two, it's a may. Let's see what happens as we go on. But remember, for these circumstances where of abandonment is one and the other is mental illness or intellectual disability, it's a may, that their rights may be terminated, not must. Okay? Now we go to the next. Let's see how this goes. KC, best interest of the child, 384B 1A. Even if grounds for termination exist, the court blank still determine that termination is in the, I would assume, best interests. Yeah, the child's best interest. Okay. Even if grounds for termination exists, the court must still determine that termination is in the best interest of the child. So when it comes to the court, when it comes to the agency, it's a must. When the responsibility is on the parent for like mental illness, intellectual incapacity, and what are the other two? I gotta remember this stuff. My brain is dead today. Come on, where is it? Right, with the visitation, the abandonment, because it's been 6 months since they've communicated or visited, it's may. All right? So far, when it comes to the agency, when it comes to the court, it's a must. These are things that the agency and the court must do. So even if the grounds for termination exist, the court must still determine that termination is in the best interest of the child. Next, 384B7A. Parental rights may be terminated for permanent neglect when a parent has failed for a period of at least blank. Parental rights may be terminated for permanent neglect when a parent has failed. I believe it's 6 months for a period of at least 1 year. There's language, one of them has failed, and I guess it's the 1 year one, but then there's the 6 month one. Yeah, this is, okay, failed is 1 year. Where's the thing about the 6 months? It has to do with abandonment, I believe. Damn it. Yes, the abandonment is 6 months. The continuation and visitation hasn't happened. And then if they failed, this one is a year. So parental rights may be terminated. Parental rights may be terminated for permanent neglect. So instead of, if it's abandonment, it's 6 months. If it's permanent neglect, it's 1 year. When a parent has failed for a period of at least 1 year. So permanent neglect means ... For a period of more than 1 year, the parent has failed to maintain contact with or plan for the future of the child. This sounds similar to abandonment, though. I don't know. I'm going to have to check on that one. Because I need more details on the 1 year situation. A parent may lose potential rights if they fail for 1 year to maintain contact. It does say that. With or plan for the child's future, even though the agency made diligent efforts to help the parent reunite with the child. Okay, so I guess it's similar. I'm trying to differentiate between abandonment and neglect. This is the abandonment one. Parental rights may be terminated if the parent fails to visit or communicate with the child for 6 months, showing intent to abandon. All right, it's a little bit vague there. May have to look deeper, search deeper into that. All right, so 3, 8, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Question 2, before seeking termination of parental rights for permanent neglect, an authorized agency blank make diligent efforts to encourage and strengthen the parental relationship. They must, remember we went over that? The court and the agency, they must get on it. The parents, a little bit more like may. Oh my God, I don't know what time it is. Hold on. All right, I got a little time. I'm trying to knock this out. I don't think I'm going to get to finish. Okay. Which of the following is not required to establish abandonment? A, failure to visit the child. B, failure to communicate with the child. C, passage of 6 months. D, proof that the agency made diligent efforts. It's definitely D. It's got to be D. D. Abandonment shall not require a showing of diligent efforts. So which of the following is not? So basically, these 3 things establish abandonment: failure to visit the child, failure to communicate with the child, and passage of 6 months. 384B, 5B. Termination of parental rights may be based on, I can't even read this, mental illness. Or which statements are true? Termination of parental rights may be based on mental illness or intellectual disability when, and then which statements are true? The condition prevents proper care now. That doesn't sound right because it's supposed to be, well, now or in the future. The condition will prevent proper care in the foreseeable future. Okay, so that would be 1 and 2. Expert testimony supports the findings. That's true. The parent refuses counseling. I think 4 is false. Yeah, only 1, 2, and 3. Presently and for the foreseeable future unable by reason of mental illness or intellectual disability to provide proper and adequate care. 384B1A, even where statutory grounds for termination exist, the court blank determined that termination is in the best interest of the child. And that's a must, because again, it's the court and the agency that have the must going on. Oh, I think I'm running out of time. All right, we're going to have to stop here.